Oilersnation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
The bar graph is back. Matt Duchene, huh? Let's get into it with the lead.
We've learned something. Smaller piece of paper next time.
Counterpoint, bigger piece of paper.
I guess the Matt Duchene factor was not accurately articulated because the piece of paper was too small.
Too small. I actually was thinking that it would be good. Like, Aaron, go to my ISO really quick. How great for set design. What if I just hung a big pad of those papers right behind me there and I just had different shit every day? It'd be great.
I mean, now you're thinking.
I had the whiteboard last year, elevate things a little bit.
Well, I guess is the Play La Bamba, is that a retired jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, Ike in the chat. Ike Chow. He puts Isaac in the Chow, but you know how Isaac Howard likes to go by Ike.
He puts Isaac in the Chow?
In the chat. He puts Isaac Chow in the chat.
Yeah.
But I like to think that if Ike Howard wants to go by Ike, not Isaac, maybe this Isaac also wants to go by Ike.
Maybe he is also an Iceman.
Maybe. He says, Matt Duchene, question mark.
I had the same thing.
Same thing. If you remember, the offside rule only exists in the NHL because of that one hilarious playoff goal where Matt Duchene was like 8 feet offside. And that summer, the NHL is like, well, we better overreact to this. And in turn, they cut down on offense by allowing you to review every single little offside. And last night, it benefited the Oilers. We'll talk about that and more. The show is a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. We also come to you live from the Sports Closet studio. It's their 25th anniversary this month, and you can win 4 tickets to a game and a $1,000 Sports Closet shopping spree. To enter, simply make a purchase of $100 or more in store or online. The Edmonton Oilers have what I would describe as the weirdest, maybe least deserved 2-game winning streak ever. Deserves got nothing to do with it, baby.
Last night, I'm calling it divine intervention.
Okay.
That's the hockey gods taking over and whispering something into Owen Tippett's ear, being like, you should make your step now. Because why would you do that? Like, one of the most coach things ever is
drag your foot.
Don't put your guy offside.
Yeah.
But he was just standing on the blue line.
Yeah.
So it looked intentional. So he was overcome by something. Hockey gods want us to go on a heater. Mm-hmm. The Oilers don't want it yet. The hockey gods want it.
Yeah, so the only reason they have 2 wins is because Jake Wallman threw a puck on net in the final minute while he was shorthanded that went off of a Blue Jackets stick. And
he was trying to pass it to Leon.
I know, but sure. Either way, divine intervention on both games, I think you could say.
Yeah. It's also, get pucks through, get pucks on net. You never know. Ask Noah Phillip if he likes just throwing a puck out front.
Yeah.
Good things can happen if you're trying.
Absolutely. Did the Oilers deserve that game, though? I mean, again, the offside saved them, but if we're looking and doing the deserve to win-o-meter, they were far and away the better hockey team in that game.
Well, at one point where the shots were like 24-8 or something.
At one point, I think Philly went like 16 minutes without a shot on net.
Then we slowed down after that. Once I realized it was 24-8, then we kind of took our foot off the gas and let Philly in a bit. But yeah, we definitely deserved to win. Mm-hmm. You knew we weren't going to get many goals, and you knew we couldn't allow them to get any goals because we can't handle that type of pressure right now. We're very delicate. So Oilers in the under was like, you could see that from space yesterday.
Yeah. Again, even Philly, they're so good usually at preventing shots and preventing chances. And, I do think for the most part, they actually did an okay job of keeping the Oilers to the outside. It wasn't like Dan Vladar had to stand on his head to stop 30 of the 32. He just had to be solid. And to his credit, he doesn't give up his second goal of the game until overtime, which I think a lot of goalies would tell you that's a solid day's work. On the other end, I also give Stuart Skinner some credit. Even the one that did go in that got called back, when they showed that...
Oh, you couldn't even see it.
There's 6 bodies. The fact that puck somehow made it through.
Yeah, that's when that was the more mystery to me. But
so again, though, Oilers get the saves when they need them. Stu played really well. I see Robin says that in the chat. There are still, even though we'll sit there and say they got lucky in the offside review and all of that. I mean, listen, this is a team. What was the year Zach Hyman had 11 goals called back? By the end of 82 games this year, there will also be a couple of games where you go, God damn, the review didn't go our way. I think back to the beginning of last season even when like the goalie interference reviews weren't going Edmonton's way and it cost them against Calgary one night. Like, I don't know. I think you just got to take these games when you get them and not be worried.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And, you need some of these games to formulate a heater, right? Mm-hmm. We did deserve to win, though. That's the whole thing. Yeah. We deserve to win that game we won. It sucks when you put that type of effort in and you don't, and that almost happened. That's why the intervention came. It was scripted that we were supposed to win that game.
Let's get into our game recap and talk a bit more about some of the positives here. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta, go-to party spot in downtown Edmonton, arcade, bar, street food, an elite TV setup for whatever game you're watching, whether it's a weeknight, weekday, weekend, I should say, doesn't matter. Hit up our friends at Greta. Edmonton got on the board early with a Boosh bomb to kick things off, which allowed you to cash your bet in the final minute.
Divine intervention again.
Yeah.
Seconds left. Oilers money line in the first period. Boosh, of all people, supporting me.
McDavid extends his point streak to 2, and Matt Savoie gets his second assist of the season. And what a story Matt Savoie was last night. Without a doubt, his best game as an NHLer, his best game as an Oiler. And to Chris Knobloch's credit, he rewarded him. He gave him some ice time. At 5-on-5, he played 13:06 at all strengths last night. Matt Savoie played just north of 16 minutes. And how about these numbers? When Matt Savoie was on the ice for the Edmonton Oilers last night, the shot attempts were 23-7, the shots were 12-3, and the goals were 2-0. He factors into both Edmonton Oilers goals last night. He was riding shotgun with McDavid, and that trio with Mangiapane was statistically the Oilers' best line in that hockey game. That was, and it felt like, a little bit of a coming out party for Matt Savoie, who'd been playing well, but just wasn't getting the results.
It's a big leap to play in the NHL. And he's an undersized guy, but he's got speed, he's got skill. And last night we saw a little bit of the dog too. He was hungry on pucks. If he can stay on the first line, what that does for our depth is massive. So super reassuring to see against a heavy Philadelphia Flyers team. Right, it was a spicy game and did not affect him, and he was buzzing. And I hope this is a spot he can stay in the lineup, because if he can and it's not forced and it's earned, what that does for the whole lineup is massive.
So I want to talk about what you just said there a little bit. Forced and not earned.
Yeah.
Because
we love to force.
It's a little bit of a chicken and egg argument, I guess, with a guy like Matt Savoie, where like yesterday he gets to play a ton and he puts forth good results. And you can sit there and say, well, hey, and I did say before that, like, he's been playing so well this year, just wasn't getting the bounces. And I would also say wasn't getting a ton of opportunity, but they finally give him the opportunity and he succeeds. Uh-huh. So is he succeeding because they made him earn it in the bottom 6? Or could you sit there and go, maybe if you would have played him in this spot earlier in the season, the results would have been coming the whole time?
No, that would have been forced. That puts so much pressure on him.
I don't know.
He's already nervous enough to try to crack the NHL roster and stay at that level. Then to be put, and it's an honor and a gift to be put beside McDavid, but that in its own is like something mental you need to overcome. Yeah. It's not easy to play with McDavid. And the minute you have Connor McDavid on your line, you feel you got to give it to him all the time. Like, look at Puck Colson for the longest time. Just anytime he got the puck, he's like, where's Draisaitl? Yeah. And give it to him at all costs. Like, these are things that you need to kind of work through. Not saying that he would do that if he was in that role, but you kind of mentally feel forced into it as you're trying to get acclimatized to the NHL game. So I don't mind that they let him cut his teeth a little bit in the bottom 6. And you were seeing it. We were talking for games on end, like, oh, tonight he's going to get one. Like, he's creating those chances. So I think he earned that opportunity of, like, why not give him a shot to see what he's got next to 97. And he ran with it. Now, if that happened on night 1, would you get the same result? I would lean towards no, right off the bat. It's daunting, man.
Who knows?
It's daunting.
Where I hope this goes moving forward for a guy like Matt Savoie is I hope they give him some leash.
He's earned leash now. He's now earned leash.
And I hope Chris Knobloch follows through on that. Like, if Zach Hyman plays tonight, I still want Matt Savoie on the top line.
Yes.
Maybe you have to move Mangiapane, or maybe you just start Zach Hyman on the third line and say, hey, we're going to give you 13 minutes tonight. Yep. You haven't played hockey in a really long time. Let's ease you into it. But I think Matt Savoie has earned the right to have some leash, and if he has a bad 2 games, you let him try figure it out with Connor, which is something that I think they struggled with in the past. And it's why I'm irritated a little bit when people do the whole like, oh, you can't just staple him next to McDavid because he's a kid and all this. If they would have stapled Dylan Holloway next to Leon Draisaitl much earlier in that season and let him play through his mistakes and growing pains, they might have figured out what they had in Dylan Holloway a lot earlier, and he maybe doesn't get offer sheeted. Philip Broberg, they didn't give an honest opportunity until they had to in the Western Conference Final, and it was like, oh shit, this guy's really good at hockey. And then he played in the Stanley Cup Final, and he was good. But Jay, if you give those guys the opportunities...
but it's we saw what we had, and we had a chance to sign them for good, fair contracts.
But if you would have figured that out in January, maybe you don't let it get to the point where that it got to.
You tie him up
Maybe
earlier.
they wouldn't have signed the offer sheet.
Yeah, and if you're going to be an Oilers team that kind of sits there and goes, you know, hey, we're not going to be into it early in the regular season. We care about, and Draisaitl's talked about this. He's like, we know when we need to play our best. It's in the playoffs. It's when the snow starts to melt in the springtime. If you're going to be a team who does that, then I think if the players are going to say that, the coaching staff should sit there and go, you know what? We're okay if we deal with the growing pains of Matt Savoie in November and December because we want him to be in a spot to succeed come springtime. Come playoff time, we want to make sure he's properly developed and ready to contribute in our lineup.
Well, I'm hoping now is that time. I just don't think you can start the season like that. It's still, NHL is not a developmental league, but still he's still got to get acclimatized. They made the decision going into the season he's sticking around. But it's protecting him, having him get comfortable and confident, and then put him in those situations to allow his offensive weapons to be showcased. And so we're saying the same thing, but just slightly different. Like I just like a little bit of a
We're
timeline.
a couple degrees off.
We're a couple we're 7 weeks off.
Sure.
We're 7 weeks apart.
Overtime winner, Mr. Jack Roslovic, 2 in a row for Jack Roslovic. How about that? Wait, big part of this play. Oh, he drags his foot.
Drags his foot.
And
I'm surprised they didn't review it because it was still close.
It was super close.
But yeah, drag your foot, bro. Owen Tim was just standing on the blue line and decided to leave and get off of it. So thank you. But yeah, good pass by Savoie. Good pressure by both of those guys. Yeah, Owen's really feeling it there.
Yeah, that's tough.
But Jack Roslovic, man, that guy's now feeling it. You know what? Talking about Savoie, giving him a few weeks to start feeling it and then deploying it. Like Roslovic's now feeling it, and now we're getting to feel what it feels like when he feels it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of feeling.
3rd even strength goal on the year for Jack Roslovic. He's up to 5 in total, has 11 points in 16 games for the Edmonton Oilers. Looking like a nice piece of business by our boy Stan Bowman.
2nd OT winner for Roslovic. The only one who has more in Oilers history. Andrew Cogliano with 3.
In a row. Oh, that's right.
Right? That was crazy.
Let's go.
I totally could see tonight going to OT. Back-to-back nights on the road.
Columbus.
We're still we're grinding. We still don't have it figured out yet. So it's just being a tight game.
If your Knobloch, fun hypothetical, goes to OT today, who you starting?
You still follow the same thing.
Okay.
You know the second wave of Roslovic's going to come in.
Yeah.
You get McDavid and Draisaitl there to tire out their guys so Jack can come on and do his thing.
The closer.
No Nuge, it's nice having Roslovic to be that second wave in OT, no Hyman as well. And I have all the confidence in the world with him with the puck and open ice. Also, Merrick's not here yet.
And that's like that sneaky pass he made and Podkolzin couldn't get his stick for that was that no look. That's the IQ you see out of that guy. Like that was sick.
He had his head up, wasn't looking at pods at all, put it on his tape.
Zach Hyman would have got a stick there.
Yeah.
That's the difference of I'm not saying Bud Colson isn't a dog, but that's the superpower of Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman, his stick is there.
It's the difference. It's a bit of maybe an oxymoron to say elite complementary player. How about that for a word? Oxymoron.
Yeah.
An elite complementary player, because that's how are they elite? But you're right. Zach Hyman is not truly an elite player in the NHL, but he's so damn good at playing with the players who are elite that it's he makes those little plays. Talk about just a little degrees
but the
of
best
difference.
at it. When you're the best at those things, you're a great player. You just look different than others.
Yeah. D White is in the chat and says 13, 19, and 20 looked like a solid 4th line. That would be Lazar. Who's 19? Lazar, Rico, and Janmark
Rico
yesterday. Those three, Henrique, Lazar, and Janmark, played 8 minutes last night. The numbers all kind of passed the sniff test. They only started 16% of the time in the offensive zone. So I think what Chris Knobloch was doing there was just trying to get a trio together that he can trust in his own end, right? Henrique can win draw. All three of those guys can actually play as a centerman, which I think also kind of helps. So, yeah, I think that's, again, maybe they have something figured out here with these lines. That kind of leaves a couple of spare parts. I wonder if Hyman's back tonight. Do we see Ike Howard go down? Or we're going to have to see Ike Howard go down to Vegas.
Is it confirmed Hyman's back?
It's not confirmed he's back yet. We don't know yet. But they would have to make roster moves if they do. So, yeah, we'll see. Waiting for they played last night, right? So there's no skate today and all of that, but
it's a mystery.
Yeah. Okay, let's head out to the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about what makes them Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca, one of Edmonton's largest locally owned and operated businesses. Star Mechanical, whether it's residential, commercial, or 24/7 emergency service, they do it all and they do it well. As we welcome in Jeff Merrick from The Sheet to the program today. Mr. Merrick, how you doing?
Hello, gentlemen. I played a fun Edmonton Oilers game with a friend of mine today. You know what the Oilers game was?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm sure you guys have done this when there's a new player on the team, and in this case, Jack Roslovic, back-to-back overtime winners, another big one yesterday against the Philadelphia Flyers. You'd play the who does he remind you of? It's a natural game. He's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, what other players. So we decided to go with who is in the history of the Edmonton Oilers, the exact opposite of Jack Roslovic. So let me frame it one very specific way. Roslovic has the touch right now for the Edmonton Oilers. He touches the puck, it goes in the net. He's, no one would ever confuse him with someone like the impending return of Zach Hyman, who puts a real accent on hard work. Okay, that's the accent that Hyman has on. So we're trying to figure in the Oilers history, who is the one player who is the exact opposite of Jack Roslovic? And the player we came up with was Ethan Moreau, who worked maybe harder than anybody on any team that he's ever been in. And that goes back to the OHL with Niagara Falls. It includes the Edmonton Oilers, certainly. But just couldn't. I know he had 1 year, maybe two of 20 goals. But basically, considering how hard he worked, you would say that guy's earned 40 goals a year, but the most he could ever muster was 20, and usually he would only get 12. Is there another name, maybe for anyone watching or listening right now, that is better as the exact opposite of Jack Roslovic right now with Edmonton than Ethan Moreau?
Well, on the same context of Moreau, but this guy also scored one of the more iconic goals in Oilers history, would be Todd Marchand.
Who was a line mate.
He could do everything but score, but he scored one of the biggest goals in Oilers history.
Totally, and it's funny because when I think of Ethan, I think of he played on line with Todd Marchand and also Mike Greer, and then later played with Fernando Pisani. I can't remember who the other part of that line was, but that's into the you mentioned Todd Marchand. I think it might have been Jared Stoll, who he played on that line with, but that's interesting you mentioned Todd Marchand because those are the two guys that red line to red line worked harder than anybody else. They just couldn't get the puck over the red line. Yeah. But everything between the red lines, they were awesome. Anyway, how's it going, guys?
But that
was my morning.
With Roslovic, he really is exactly what the Oilers needed. And that's why I kind of have a bit of an issue with people who are, and, it's not everyone, but it's a narrative that as they struggle, Stan Bowman can't sit on his hands. He hasn't been sitting on his hands. He went and got this guy off the bargain bin, got him on a 1-year deal, and he's exactly what the teams needed. They have hard workers. They have Podkolzins and all this go down the line. They need guys who can actually make plays at 5-on-5 and at even strength, and Roslovic has been exactly that.
I've got a more recent submission to the
what do you got? What do you got?
Season 1 of Connor Brown.
Wow.
Couldn't work so hard and could not bury to save his life.
Could not throw a pebble in the ocean off a pier. Yes, I remember that was so frustrating to watch, too. Because he's a guy who's impossible not to like. Whether you know him or just know the backstory or watch him play, you're just I know hard work doesn't get you anything but an answer to the question, how good am I? But you look at players that work as hard as Connor Brown did and does, and Ethan Moreau did and does, and Todd Marchand and Mike Greer in that line, and you say to yourself, man, if the word fair really existed, and I always tell my kids that it doesn't, like take that page out of the dictionary, forget about the word fair. If it did existed, those guys would have scored substantially more goals than they ended up doing. You know what's the other thing too about someone like Roslovic, and this was always where I thought that a player like Phil Kessel was really valuable, because like let's face it, wasn't the hardest worker on any team. I know he had his lower half was always strong, so he always had really strong legs, was a decent skater, but it's always good when you have like one guy on the team that can score an easy goal, one that you don't have to work for, that like, you just come down the wing and bam, it goes in, regardless of what else he's going to bring you. Like if he doesn't give you anything else, well, fine, because he's going to be able to score an easy goal, and you can see it on the bench right away when someone like, and we'll just use Roslovic as the example, comes down the wing, skates down the ice, scores an easy goal, the whole bench just goes, oh, it's so nice to be able to get one that we don't have to work for. And that was always like Phil. Oh, this is awesome. We didn't have to work for that. It's like one of the great luxury items that a team can have. And that's where you look at Roslovic, certainly lately, with overtime heroics, and you say, yeah, you know what? It's good to have someone that can score an easy goal. Continues the march of American players on the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, that's also true. Phil Kessel, Liam and I had this debate the other day. Is he Hall of Fame or Hall of Very Good?
Yes. Man, Hall of Fame is weird. But for me, because I put the accent on the final word, and that is fame. To me, he's a Hall of Famer. There's a lot of like Hall of Very Good players that are in. And if you want to look no further, go look at that 1967 Maple Leafs team, the last Maple Leafs team to win the Stanley Cup, and see how many of those people are in the Hockey Hall of Fame who may or may not really belong in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but because they played on that team, they got in. But for me, like Phil should have won the Conn Smythe Trophy, right? Like Phil should have won the Conn Smythe, and the goals and the Iron Man streak, which is just too delicious. Even as I look back on it, like Phil Kessel, Iron Man is just to me, and him like a larger than life personality in the game as well. If you want to put the accent on the word fame in Hockey Hall of Fame, for me, Phil Kessel goes in.
Yeah,
even just to hear the speech, I want to see it.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, if you go by the Paul Paduty, like, did he do enough in his career? Probably not. But the fame side of it, and you can't deprive us of that speech. It'd be too good.
I know. The people need to see it.
They need it. I want you to act as sort of the mediator for a fight that we had on the show yesterday. All right. It got really spicy there for about 10 minutes. It was me versus Jay and Liam. And, the idea that if this year goes bad, is Connor McDavid going to be frustrated this summer? And does that put pressure on Stan Bowman to make a real big splash at this year's deadline? And Liam said there is no chance in hell that the Edmonton Oilers still have their 2027 first-round pick by the time the deadline passes. And I said, you're crazy. I think this might be a year where the Oilers sit there and go, it's going to be a little flat. Like, they don't have money. They don't have a lot of assets. I think the trade market's really interesting this summer, but they can't afford a lot of this stuff in season. So I think this might be a year where the Oilers just go, the solution's got to be in the room. Jay and Liam disagreed with me.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning here. What is this? Because I think this is what you have to ask. You have to ask yourself at the beginning of every single season. What is Stan Bowman's mandate for the year?
Win the Stanley Cup.
Correct. Is it win the Stanley Cup now and next year and the year after? Is it win the Stanley? Maybe not this year, but let's take a better swing next year. The mandate is to win the Stanley Cup. The mandate is to win the Stanley Cup now. So if that's the mandate, then I don't think you consider you don't consider tomorrow. It's again one of those seasons where you make all of your big moves, bring you closer to the Stanley Cup. Bonus if it's this year and a couple of subsequent years as well. And then you sort out your cap situation in the summer. That's where you clean it all up. Like part of the I think part of the brilliance that has been the Vegas Golden Knights, I think has been lost on a lot of us. And that is they handle the salary cap in a very specific way and always have. Now, there are other teams that have done this too, but Vegas is perhaps the best example. They don't mind making a mess during the year because they know that in the summer they can clean up their cap. And they're fine with it. And that's how they couch it. They don't worry about doing the dishes as soon as the meal is over. It's like, you know what, we're gonna do the dishes when the guests leave. And that's why Vegas, I think, has been successful. They don't worry about you have to worry obviously about being cap compliant, but they just worry about making their team better that season. And then they take the summer and they clean it up. And I think if you're Stan Bowman, I think you follow the exact same formula. We need to get closer to winning the Stanley Cup this year and next year and the year after. So if that means we're going to make kind of a hash of our cap right now, I think you do it. And that's the mandate for Stan Bowman. So I guess that puts me in defiance with you then, Tyler.
A little bit. And like, again, you need to win. You need to be trying to win the Stanley Cup this year. But my fear would be like, okay, first off, to add anything of significance, you need to subtract dollars. So like, are you trading Brett Kulak? Are you like, I don't think you can convince Adam Henrique to waive his no movement clause though. So like, I just, it's hard for me to chart a path to them making a significant enough move in season that you might close the door. I just don't want to miss out on UC Saros in July is kind of my whole thing.
But the thing is, like, you can't throw yourself and say, well, you know what, things are going to be better down the road. Like, you have to play with the hand that you've been dealt, and the hand that you've been dealt, right now, sure, it's a difficult one, and it's going to take some bold decisions and some tough decisions. You have to measure off, okay, if we're going to bring even someone like UC Saros right now, like, where's the hole we're going to be creating later? And again, I'll go back to my Vegas example. They're successful because they're bold and they're sure of themselves, right? And they understand that they have a team that no matter what hole you create, we have, like, for the longest time, like Edmonton could core their problems. What a luxury to have. How many teams have that luxury? They don't. So you need to be able to, and this is where it comes like that down to player to player to player. They have to have this internal belief in themselves that whatever hole they create to fix a bigger problem, they can compensate for, because at the end of the day, they're probably the most skilled team on the ice with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, which is one of the great gifts any hockey team has ever been given. And I think that's probably the way Stan Bowman looks at it. Like, there's this year, and that's all we can deal with. Then we'll figure out our cap in the summer, and then we look to win the Stanley Cup next year. But right now, it's all about winning the cup this year.
Yeah,
and you know what? Like, who's really distinguished themselves? Colorado. And why is that? Right now, you look around the NHL. I don't want to give full credit to the Avalanche here. I don't want to get radioed. Merrick buries the Avalanche. No, not at all. But right now, in the NHL, 17, 18 games in, is a very mediocre league. And Colorado is the best out of that bunch. That's probably going to change by game 30. But right now, I still maintain this whole thing is jump ball. Mm-hmm. I would not read in too much into anyone's position, maybe outside of Colorado, about who's going to be good and who's going to be bad and who's going to be competing for the Stanley Cup.
Which makes everything from a transaction perspective even more difficult, because like I hear, and I'm not even saying, like, obviously I'm not saying the Oilers shouldn't add. It's just like, hey, should you give up some futures and whatever and get UPL, or should you wait to see if Cam Talbot's available, and maybe that only costs you a third or a fourth round pick? But like, even the Talbot thing that Pagnotta threw out, I'm like, does Detroit sell? Does Yzerman sit there at any point and be like, sure, I'll give up my backup goalie who's maybe playing like a starting goalie right now?
You can't wait. You know why? Because Brian Burke, I checked with the league and they're only handing out one Stanley Cup again. I checked with the league this morning, and you know what they said? All the other teams are allowed to try too. They're allowed. Yeah, they're allowed to try too. Yeah.
I think
it's not just Oilers. They're allowed to try. Every other team.
I think Tyler's kind of position would make sense 5 years ago when Connor and Leon were younger. But now they're older. We've got it. Literally, Connor gave us a ticking, he's given us a timeline. And the time is now. The time has been now for 3 seasons. And so you got to push it all in every year right now.
Yep. You cannot worry about what contracts are going to look like. You cannot worry about, who might be available and, what these magic beans can turn into. You need to deal with what is staring you in the face right now. And I don't think you can say like, we're going to be a little bit softer this year because we might be able to get this player or we might be able to sign that guy. That's too much of a risk. Like Jay's right. Like McDavid gave the Oilers a massive gift. This is an enormous gift. That is without precedent in the history of the NHL. That goes back to 1917. You can't roller skate down a gravel road with this one.
But the gift doesn't kick in until July.
You gotta go for it.
Oh. Right? Oh, all right.
He extended his 8-year deal to a 10-year deal.
That's kind of cool. That's good to look at it, yeah.
That is extremely cool. So the least we can do is to try. He owes us nothing. We owe him everything.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
He wants you to try. He wants you to try to win the Stanley Cup this year, and he wants you to try to win the Stanley Cup next year, and he wants you to try to win the Stanley Cup the year after that. And then we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And we'll just see what happens. But the reason he did that, again, what's Bowman's mandate? And to Jay's point too, what is the expectation that you owe Connor McDavid after what he just did for this team? I think that's a point that really shouldn't get lost in all of this. He didn't do that so you can go you know what? Let's put our feet up here a little bit. We got a couple more years. Connor just gave us this gift. No. He did this because he doesn't just want to win. Berkey was talking about this on the sheet yesterday. I can't remember the person he referenced, but he said, I'm always interested in the person after they've won the championship who right away is hungry to win two and who's satisfied that they just won one. I don't think Connor McDavid in the back of his mind is thinking, I just want to win one Stanley Cup. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Fair. Jeff, appreciate you.
Are you coming over? Are you? Hang on. Are you coming over to our side on this one? Tyler, did we massage your brain here enough? What do you think?
Honestly,
give you enough catnip, Stanley Cups? And...
Honestly, no.
Oh.
No.
The time is not now. You rather just call this year a write-off.
I'm not calling it a write-off. They have an authentic shot at winning the Stanley Cup. I just have a hard time seeing the path to
they
a big
have the best
ad.
shot at the moment to win the Stanley Cup.
They have a shot. Chip in a chair. Like the Carolina Hurricanes. They just give us a seed every year. We'll see where the chips fall. I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn.
All right. I appreciate that. I can respect that. You see, Jay and I are old. We're the ones that should be stubborn. You should be all of progressive and move forward and there's no tomorrow and blast it all off and you got to go for the cup every year. What happened to kids, Jay?
He's an old soul.
What happened to kids?
He's an old soul.
I eat dinner at 4:30. I'm in bed by 9. I'm an old
He's
soul.
got his Tuesday curling league with the boys, whose average age is 70.
Oh man, if you want to get some scorching takes on Evan Bouchard, you go down to a local Edmonton curling club. He might be the worst person ever.
I thought Maple Leafs fans were the ones that picked on one defenseman and tried to run them out of town. That's always been going back to Larry Murphy. That's always been the Maple Leafs bailiwick. Mm-hmm. Edmonton, don't do that. Don't.
I know.
Well,
don't.
We signed him. So we have to build him up.
Yep, we signed him. Mm-hmm. All right, Jeff. Appreciate your time as always. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, boys. Ethan Moreau, let's go.
Yeah, that's a good pull. Good old Ethan Moreau. Whatever. The curling club was spicy this week. That is a good one. I had a guy be like, first and Troy Stetcher for Adrian Kempe. I'm like, oh, yeah, we're back. We are all the way back.
Oh, I love Kempe.
First and Troy Stetcher is what it's going to cost you.
I mean, yeah, that is delusional.
Yeah. Anyways, we got a second guest joining us at 1 o'clock today. It'll be our guy, Steve Peters. He's got an interesting little film breakdown. We're going to talk about 5v5 struggles, what's plaguing the Oilers in the D zone, what's causing them to be stagnant in the O zone. He's also got some stuff on Leon Draisaitl that I'm really interested to get into as well.
Is it all regular season or is there playoff clips?
It's just the start of the year. We're breaking down the start of the year.
Then, okay. Yep. Cherry picking. Okay.
You know what? The fact
it's not a big enough sample size to quote you.
Okay, you doing that? You now can't talk shit about Evan Bouchard anymore because I'll just sit there and be like, you got to talk about the playoffs, Jay. Talk about the playoffs.
Are you kidding me?
What?
I cherry pick Evan Bouchard?
You like to cherry pick his regular season plays.
Oh my God.
What am I cherry picking? We're talking about the first month and a half of the season.
You're not cherry picking it. Someone else is.
That's not cherry picking. That's looking back on the last month and talking about what's working at 5-on-5 and what's not. Do you think they've been good enough at 5-on-5?
No, not at all.
So
nothing's been good on any on 5.
So let's figure out why.
Okay.
The Edmonton Oilers.
It's an educational thing. It's an educational thing.
I feel like it's targeted.
Who?
I'll let you know, Jay, because I got my own. I'll let you know.
You give me the goods. You give me the goods.
Edmonton Oilers 31st in the NHL at 5-on-5 goals for percentage. That is an ugly stat.
It needs to. We need to improve everywhere. Everywhere.
And you know who's one of the guys who is plaguing them at 5v5?
Yeah, I know. I
Draisaitl.
can see the point totals. But I feel like you're taking this start of the season where some of these guys aren't quite into it yet, and they're still going through the emotional hurdles of 2 Stanley Cup finals, and we're putting it on blast.
I wouldn't say putting it on blast. It's explaining why they're struggling at 5-on-5. At this point last year, Leon Draisaitl had 3 times as many even strength goals.
So this won't be like a Liam goalie montage of the opposing team's goalie?
It's not quite as long.
Okay.
Not totally unsimilar. Is that a word? Yeah.
Sure.
It
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying. Kind of like positive regression. You know what it means, even if it's not really.
Positively regress.
They need Leon Draisaitl, though, positively regressing it going a little bit. But, again, it's all part of the conversation.
Ooh, yeah, I guess. Jeez, wow. Mind pretzel. Yep, we do.
Yeah, it's very unsimilar. Let's get to some...
Could you just say aggress? Progress?
I think you want to progress.
Actually, you know what? Before we get to the Spotify question, on the topic of aggression, yesterday there was a montage that they played on the broadcast of Connor McDavid just getting thrown around.
Oh. Konechny and co had a job to do, and they were doing it.
Nick Seeler.
Seeler. I would love him on
If you told me that was Travis Sanheim, I would have believed you yesterday, because that dude was all over it.
He was.
I had a good conversation with a family member of mine who texted me and was like, back in the day, if someone touched Wayne like that once, it was over for him.
Once again, it goes back to our identity. We don't even have an identity. Connor got, especially after the whistle, we got rocked in the corner there. No one went after him. What in the actual fuck?
And I don't know for sure who's on the ice. And, if a guy like
I don't give a shit.
But yeah, that's what I'm getting at is I can maybe understand if a Matt Savoie was sitting there, I was like, oh shit. But Andrew Mangiapane's been in the league for how long? Every defensive pairing has a guy who
should be... Take a slashing penalty. Yes. Slash the guy in the back of the leg.
Do something. Very disappointing.
Well, and you want to talk about whole, we need to address that, because I remember there was they made a comment about there's a line with Delorier and Hathaway, and then the other guy, and whoever the other guy is, the safest guy, that guy, the safest guy in the NHL, and Connor does not have that.
Nope.
And I know if Savoie is his line mate, Savoie isn't going to give it to him, and that's fine, but one of the defensemen should be running in with reckless abandon.
If it's 97, somebody on the bench take a number and you go grab one of them.
Or take a number, but still, someone just come in and do a face wash. And I know here once again, you have to be mindful who's on the ice with Philly. If Nick Delorier is on the ice and you go after Seeler for doing that and Delorier pulls you out of there, that's terrifying. Unless you're blank, insert name here that can manage that, whom we don't have.
The player who was
the
player who's on the line with Hathaway and Delorier is the Latvian forward Rodrigo Abels.
Safest guy in the NHL.
Definitely a made up name.
That guy should be the biggest rat going.
Yeah,
he should.
Yeah,
that. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was so disappointing to see. And once it goes back to who we are as a team and that gelling, and we're just not that solidified unit. It's sad. It's disappointing, and that needs to be addressed.
I will say, for the take a number side of it, they did show, and again, it's tough when you're not there because you don't see who's John at who or whatever, but they did play a couple of moments on Sportsnet where it was Nurse and Podkolzin and them were kind of standing at center ice, Beacon at Hathaway. So if that's what that was about, maybe Connor McDavid sees that and is thank you. Or maybe to Lance's point in the YouTube chat, McDavid doesn't want guys taking penalties on his behalf. Maybe the message, and I do think this has been the message in the past, let him do it. We'll take the power plays.
Fuck off. How's that sound? That is the absolute worst take possible in the sense of sometimes yes, sometimes yes. Like, but if it's your captain, then if you don't have a guy big enough to go against Sealer, someone better blow up Michkov. You know, you got to go eye for an eye. And the fact that we can't even do that is disappointing. So yeah, like sure, take the power play. In some facets, like it's the right take. But when it's your captain, when it's Connor McDavid, he should be an untouchable, known quantity. Or if you touch him, there's a price to pay. You know something's coming your way, and you have to pay the price to do that. And right now, it's just there's no cover charge with Connor McDavid.
I also
free
think,
entry and co-check.
To add on to it, like we saw what happened when Freddie got the shit kicked out of him there. It motivated the whole squad. When the Oilers are reeling, to not, especially on the beginning of a 7-game roadie, to show any bit of that energy to try and defend your leader. Hey, I need that at the beginning of the road trip. I need that when the team is struggling, because that's going to drag you back into the fight.
But here's the problem. Philly's tougher than us.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's tougher than us.
So then again, counterpoint to what you're saying, don't play their style. If Philly wants to do that, just say, we'll try to beat Trump.
Well, and this goes back to if you can't do it right in that moment, go do it to their other best player. Like, like that. Like, why couldn't Frederick go and run Michkov or
the way
or Konechny?
Well,
Konechny's a smaller guy who was targeting, you know, and being a little bit of a rat. Like, someone should just go and blow him up when you get a chance. Like, create that threat, and that's where Wallman could be good. Like, let's get the open ice going.
Yeah.
Right. Like, let's go step in and try to connect on a guy and blow him up, and then go let their tough guys take a bunch of penalties because they have to find something to do, and just let them take it and just, protect. Like I said, there's ways to play that game, and we don't play any game. We just take it. Like, yeah, that's so right. I was so exhausted watching the other game. Normally I would have thrown my remote through the TV when I saw McDavid get hit there like that. That was after the whistle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
McTuft was out a little bit after. I saw that, but yeah, no response.
I want to get to a couple of super chats and then the Spotify comments. Our super chats this week in honor of Remembrance Day are going to the Canadian Veteran Services Society. You can find out more about all the good work that they do by visiting them at their website, cavss.ca. Tammy is in. I missed my donation last night. Rosie for the win for Ben, always $20. And Depressed Canadian drops in 3 $20 donations.
Whoa.
I wonder if they know you can comment for free. Either way, it's all going to a great cause. He's dropped in the first $20 donation, said there's no guarantee that the Oilers will be a better team next year, and the league will adapt and get younger as well, which, again, that's a fair point. I think, again, you, Liam, Jeff, you make fair points. He added on, just ask the 2011 Canucks. They ran out of gas and never saw the finals again as the league adapted to their style, and they were broken up a few years later. No guarantees at all. McDavid isn't safe because the league has phased out enforcers. This is a different topic now. There is no modern-day Semenko or McSorley because the league discouraged them for 30 years. He still needs a team to protect him, though. And then Depressed Canadian dropped in a fourth $20 super chat and said a league that hands out $2,500 fines for headshots doesn't care about its stars. There's a lot going on there from Depressed Canadian.
Well, thank you for the support. And a lot of good comments said there. Yeah, like heavy, like if you're a heavyweight in the league, you have to be able to play hockey. Mm-hmm. Right, that's the thing that's different. So like Delorier is one. Who's the guy in Anaheim that's leading the league in majors? That guy, Olivier.
That guy, who is that?
Olivier also.
Ross Johnston,
yeah, and Rempe. And then I guess Reeves to some degree.
AJ
like he's
Greer,
He's a heavyweight, but not every team has one. But it's not necessarily like do we have a heavyweight? It's just do we have guys that have the ability to step up for their teammates? And stepping up doesn't always have to be fighting. Like it's like, although I do love fighting in hockey, like I'm a dinosaur when it comes to that. I'm old school, but physicality is hitting. Mm-hmm. We should be blowing. Like there's no physical threat that we possess in terms of I have to be worried when this guy's on the ice. I have to have my head up when this guy's on the ice. That having those deterrents, like they have an effect. They have it. And so, we need to, it is an important element. Like ask the Florida Panthers if they like physicality or they deem it important. That's the team that that we met in the finals twice and we just couldn't get over the edge. And was it solely because of physicality? No, but it definitely played a part. It's an ingredient. And we had a little bit of it, but not enough. And I think, the unicorn type player is those guys that can skate, and like Garnet Hathaway is the perfect example of that. Like a guy that can skate and forecheck and be a physical threat. Like we need a little bit more of that. Because it's missing. Because once again, we don't have an identity right now. Our captain is getting pushed around. And we have no one sticking up for him. That also probably pisses him off.
Or
I bet it does. He doesn't want to get, it's not like, oh yeah, I got rocked in the corner there and now I got a power play. Fuck, my shoulder hurts now for 2 weeks. It ain't it. It ain't it. We need to be able to step up, and we need to be able to let teams not push us around, because the minute they bring that element in, we have no counterpunch.
Yeah.
None.
Janko dropped in a couple bucks and said, I'm only making super chats from now on. Sure. It all
Respect.
goes to a great cause. Next week, we'll be back to supporting the Ben Stelter Foundation as well. I think Mike Stelter is going to join us in the next week or so,
cool.
too, to give us, or for us to give them the donation that you guys all put together last season. But for now, let's get to our Spotify question, brought to you by Oodle Noodle. You can take advantage of the value menu deal, which allows you to add either 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 wontons to your order for just $2. The value. Any signature premium box, takeout only. Order online at oodlenoodle.ca. Yesterday, our Spotify question was, what needs to return to the Oilers game in order for you to consider them back? And I actually think this question makes a lot of sense for today, because while the Oilers have won 2 games in a row, I don't think anyone's sitting there saying the Oilers are back. It's been 2 pretty gross, weird wins where you're smiling that they won. You wake up in the morning feeling good, and then you kind of remember, oh, yeah, they needed the offside review, and oh, yeah, they needed Jake Wallman off a stick, and all Connor McDavid going supernova. They haven't had
which if that happened in the middle of a heater, you'd be like, okay, because you have to win some games you don't deserve in a heater. We're starting off that way.
I slept great last night. I don't care.
And that's true. I did sleep really good and I needed it, but nothing convincing yet. Convincing.
Dude, they were the better team for 30 minutes. They dominated them. It's just their inability to complete the full 60.
That's the thing,
we're getting
right?
closer. 30's more than 20.
We're extending. It used to be 2 minutes of brilliance. Then it was 4, and then it's 10. Now it's 15.
We're at half the game. Let's go.
So yeah, they just got to cash in, and the other thing is they have to be a little bit patient. It will come, but keep that level. Don't let yesterday be a deterrent in the sense of, well, we shelled them. We can only get 2. Well, technically 1, because don't count the overtime one. Just say whatever, but yeah, they haven't. So the question is, what do we need to see to think that they're back?
Yeah,
they play Columbus tonight. Who they play on Saturday?
Carolina
on Saturday.
Yeah, and then Buffalo Monday.
Do the Bills play in Buffalo on Sunday? That'd be a great team bonding experience.
No, I think they're in Tampa.
Damn.
Well, they got to beat the wheels.
Oh, they are in Buffalo. Nice.
They have to win in Carolina, because that'll be a tough win.
Yeah.
And they have to blow the wheels off of. We love losing to Buffalo. Buffalo and Columbus. I think if they, can go and win tonight, a 3-2 kind of squeaker, we'll call it, but convincing squeaker, and I don't care, win in overtime. I don't care how they do it. Just win in Carolina, because that's been a struggle for us. Mm-hmm. And then go to Buffalo and just pants them.
All right. Aaron, do we have the Spotify comments?
Yep.
All right, let's get to a few of them here. We put out the question yesterday. We want to give you all who listen in podcast form a chance to have your voices heard this week. Sabrina is in for 25 you commented. Wow. Yeah. Sabrina, I hope Tyler put money on the Mitchkov power play point. Another female listener in Australia. Shout out to Sabrina. No, I didn't bet on it because I refuse to bet on anything that doesn't just directly positively correlate to an Oilers win. But I did call it yesterday on the show. I was like, Mitchkov power play point is happening. Riley is in and says, until we win one of those close games against another contender where our starting goaltender is over a 900 save percentage and it's a McDavid to Draisaitl OT winner, the boys actually care about the win. Plus with Jack doing the Kevin Quinn overtime winner. That's when Riley says he believes they'll be back.
That's Carolina.
That's quite the checklist, too.
That's Carolina.
Could be Carolina. Jack Rabb is in, says, what up, boys? Greeting from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hot Atlanta.
What record on the road trip would you consider a success? Well, considering
undefeated.
Well, considering they're already 1-0, I would sit here and say win all the ones you have to, which is tonight and Buffalo, and split the tough ones. So I will say 1-2. I'll say 5-2 is what I'd like the Oilers to be. 5-2 on the road trip.
I'm not offended by 5-2. That's 5-2 on the road is undefeated at home.
I'd even take 4-2-1.
I was going to say 14 possible points. Give me 8 points. That's a success to me.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
But that's
1 point over 500.
Roadie. There's some tough squads. You're playing Tampa, Florida, Carolina.
15 points.
Yeah, but Tampa's in shambles. Florida.
I think they're in a playoff spot again now, though.
Well, so the mushy middle, like the middle, the bread is thin and the meat is thick in the NHL playoff sandwich.
Put that on a quote graphic.
Yeah, that's like going to was if anyone. I was just in Montreal. If anyone's been to Schwartz Deli, it's that. The mushy middle is that delicious meat that's in the middle because there is so much of it and just very little bread. But a whisper.
Someone who just doesn't have a username said, when Hyman gets back and pushes Mangiapane down to the third line where he belongs, that's when we know we'll be back. Nice on Jay to pull out that bet with 54.6 seconds left. Also nice to see Pods using that goalie scouting chart and burring on that 2-on-1. Or burying that 2-on-1 chance right into the chest of Vladar. Hey, he knew there's a hole on damn Vladar.
You saw it.
Dylan is in and says, the Oilers are back when they give a shit. Too many passengers, and it seems like no one has the jam to get going. Losing the majority of the puck battles, reaching instead of giving an extra stride. Just looks like everyone is hungover out there.
Stanley Cup, there is no jam. When I asked Louis, he laughed. Where's the jam? Huh. You don't see it.
Yeah. Rusty says the Oilers are only an 8-game heater away from being back. I kid. I think the Oilers will officially be back when they start imposing their will in the offensive zone. Hyman and Nuge coming back into the lineup will help with that a lot. Steph said the Oilers are back when they stop chasing games, dictate the play instead of coasting until their backs are against the wall, which I actually think they kind of did a little bit better last night. They were dictating that game for some longer
100%.
stretches, which is encouraging. Riley Sandbeck says, does anyone feel like the Oilers are poised for a run on this road trip? This team is finally playing pissed off. They've shown
were
flashes.
They pissed off?
They've shown
They got
flashes.
in some scrums, which is
Like
more than
McDavid got
they
rocked
did.
in the corner and nothing happened.
But in October, they didn't do anything. At least they barked in the TV timeout.
Like when Frederick hit the goalie, he was like he didn't mean to hit the goalie. The play just forced him to hit the goalie, and he was just kind of sitting there. And I know his face is blown up, and he wants nothing to do with like getting punched. But he just like did it. He's like, oh, like I didn't mean to, guys. Like no, fuck off. I meant to.
Brady is in, longtime Winnipeg Oilers fan here. Oilers are back if they rattle off 11 of 14 on this roadie, and Bush and Nurse eliminate the turnovers and bonehead plays. He also adds, Tyler, I guarantee the Oilers trade that 27 first-round pick. Yep. My goalie is that they'll use it to go get Binnington, is what Brady said. Oof. That makes me nervous.
I mean,
I'm out on that. I'm out.
Yeah. Chandler says, I think if we see an overall consistent effort in both ends of the ice over a 4 or 5 game span, I'd consider them back. Bryce says, I will regain my confidence when this is a good one. I will regain my confidence when we are in round 1 down 3-0 in game 4 of this series and LA is up 2-1. But in all honesty, I haven't hit the worry button yet. I won't until the new year, which I think is fair. Kevin says we need a few games of consistent goaltending. # we are so back when. Bo asked, how soon could we see Connor Ingram? The dude hasn't played in 3 games for the Bakersfield Condors. They just keep playing Matt Tompkins. So read into that however you want to. Steel Toad says the Oilers are back when it's game 3 of the playoffs or when we see hits and scrums. Much love. We got a few more still to go to. So many on Spotify. Oilers are back when Pissy Leon enters the chat. Again, we'll talk about that with Petey in a few minutes here. Alex says, I think they can win 3 games in a row, starting with a lead and maintaining the lead all the way through. No more of letting off halfway through. Not great from last night. That's why Colorado dominates. Longtime listener, first-time commenter. Thanks for including a Spotify user, said Alex. Brad said, get gritty goals. Josh said, domination at 5-on-5. That's when I'll have some faith again. We'll talk about that with Petey. That's a big focus with him. There's more.
There's so many.
There's so many. I'll be the captain says, sorry, I've been busy at work and I've been following behind on the shows. They actually said, I'm so sorry. It's Thursday, so I've already seen the Philly game, but I would say the boys are in fact back. He's declaring them back. The captain. Finding ways to win the past 2 games despite playing some questionable hockey for long stretches is important. Good teams find ways to win on bad days.
Yeah,
that's a bar.
And that is true. But we also need convincing wins in the mix.
Noah, we'll be back when McDavid shows any joy after scoring a goal. Jared says,
Don't hold your breath, brother.
Jared said Gretzky and Messier need to return for the Oilers to be back. Maybe flex the dog as well. Remember flex the dog?
Oh, yeah. And the Octane.
Yeah, and the Octane.
Bring it back.
John said automatic first shift OT wins, which they've had back-to-back second shift OT wins. But a win's a win. You won't complain. But Jay, before you leave, we got to do our Bet365 game day betting challenge. Whatever the moment, whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and use the promo code NATION to find out what makes Bet365 never ordinary.
Interesting now. Our records are all the same.
Liam's not here, so we probably don't have an updated board.
Yeah, I could try and use my brain here.
Jay, what was your
Jay
bet
was
yesterday?
minus 2.4 units, and he was plus 130.
So, yeah, he's minus 1.1 units now.
Yep. Tyler, you're down to minus 3.2. Wait, did you hit yours?
No.
And I don't remember Liam's. But he's
Liam
also
missed
down.
too.
So, Jay, you're in the lead.
You're in the lead. Congrats, Jay.
Wow.
Must feel good.
I mean, yeah.
Needed a late
Although
one from
I'm not
Bush,
afraid to
but-
get a spray tan.
Yeah.
I might just get a spray tan with the loser.
Solidarity
Prove
spray
a
tan.
point, too.
Yeah.
All right. Our picks for tonight. I'm going shot prop parlay once again. It's what I do. Roslovic has been hammering pucks towards the net as of late. He hit this last game. I like him to hit it again. And the Bush bomb returned last night, which was great to see. Bush was a little bit quiet in the shot department there for a game or two, but he's hit this in 3 of his last 5. So I like taking Bush and Roslovic. It gets you to a very juicy plus 330 as well.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
That's frothy. I like
That's
it.
not bad. You bet that, then you put a bunch on money line as well, and then just ride it that way. Jay, what do you like tonight?
I mean, they're on a heater. You should sprinkle in money line. Well, Oilers are only minus 105 on the money line. So obviously the books are onto them for not being that great this season finally.
McDavid 1 point barely even moves it.
I know, but it puts it over plus. I refuse to put a minus bet. McDavid in his last 5 has like 7 or 8 points. And he's had points in all of the last 5 games. So Oilers win in Columbus. And McDavid gets a point. Do I even have to sell anyone on that?
Nope.
No, again, it looks very
the story
likely.
writes itself. I don't have
Yeah.
to make up some extensive lie
Look at
like I do
Jay
half the
making
time.
reasonable bets here.
It's
I like
Well,
it.
it's
very-
because I'm not feeling it right
Yeah.
now. I'm not feeling it. I've had a rough go because 90% of my bets in sports betting are on the Oilers. And you can only imagine how that's gone so far.
Not great.
So now you just got to go back to basics. It's about hitting base hits right now, and then we'll start going for dingers here as the season rolls on. And I start getting a pulse for the team.
Yeah.
They don't have a pulse, and I don't have a pulse. No one has a pulse.
What did Liam do today? He's Ekholm 2 shots, Wallman 2 shots, plus 155. That's a
Wow.
weird one.
That is a weird one. That seems like, where's Liam today?
He's down in Calgary.
So I feel like he was driving down to Calgary and realized on the QE2, shit, I need to submit my bets, and just whip something up really quick.
There's a part of me that thinks he meant to do block shots. Ekholm's hit
Half
this.
of the shots last night came from the Oilers D. You talk about perimeter.
Sure.
They had 31 total, 15 were from the D. So
Ekholm is interesting because he's gone 3+ shots in 4 of his last 5 games. And for him to go 3 shots again tonight and keep that going is plus 205. Can I give you another bet I like tonight? This is outside
Drake
of Edmonton.
made 200 plus pass yards.
Sure. The LA Kings are plus 185 on the puck line. The Leafs are starting Hill to be, and they don't have Matthews. You saw the Kings smoke the Habs the other day in Montreal.
Oh, they smoked them. They had their rookie party in Montreal, too. I would like to dig, and I don't know how you have to look at the calendar, like over the years, what a team's record is after their rookie party.
Like, you think it's an actual bonding moment? You think it brings them together?
I mean, it's a chance if the team isn't together to bring them together.
Yeah.
It's a few days before a game days, so you're not fully playing guilty, but there's a little amount of guilt. And you never want to lose a game after a rookie party because you don't want your coach to alter any of the flashing green lights, future flashing green lights that are on the calendar.
Yeah.
So it's I would love to know what a team's record is after the rookie party.
This is my get-rich-quick scheme for tonight.
Okay.
Kings puck line, Oilers puck line, $25 into 225. Get rich quick. Just need 2 results to go your way.
I mean,
8
If
extra money.
the Oilers are back,
They cover.
it's puck line.
Yeah.
If they are back, it's puck line. They squeaked out a win in Philly that they deserved. And there's a lot of good positives there. Rolling to Columbus. I don't want to hear that cannon go off once.
Ew. Yeah. Okay, we'll let you go, but very quickly, I'm just going to rattle off the lineup notes for tonight, then we'll get out to the guest line. Hyman's not going to play tonight. Howard and Emberson skated with Hyman this morning, which means, according to Jason Greger, that Alec Regula and David Tomashek will draw in. So Tomashek for Ike Howard, Regula for Emberson. Pickard starts. Both teams playing their third game in 4 nights. Jet Greaves goes for Columbus, his third start in a row.
Jet Greaves. Okay. It's got to be puck line.
Jet Greaves is real damn good, though.
Well,
Kevin Woodley thinks he should have an outside shot at the Olympic team.
Whoa.
Said he's that good.
He had a 7-something save percentage against us.
Yeah, 792 against the Oil last time out. But that was just Connor
McDavid. We're not a
McDavid.
save percentage podcast.
Yeah, that's also a good point. All right.
Goes both ways.
Jay, you were wearing a jacket inside for the whole show, which is just insane.
This is a shirt.
No, look how thick it is.
shirt.
It's fuzzy.
It's
Shirts
wool.
aren't fuzzy.
It's winter. It's a wool. You don't wear wool in the winter? I'd wear a jacket over this.
You would wear a jacket over that. We're going to fight about this on real life.
At what temperature, though?
We're
Just like right now, that's fine.
Is this not a shirt? This is a wool full button-up collared shirt.
I'm putting a sanction on you because you're going to leave. You're going to leave. You cannot discuss this with BM, Wanye, or Chalmers. If you see them, we're having this fight on real life. Because I think you do not wear a jacket. That is a jacket. You could wear a sweater underneath it, but you can't wear a jacket on top of it. It's wool.
You come over here.
I would
I wanna
never
give that
wear a
feel.
sweater underneath this.
What?
This is because it's not a jacket.
I need to feel how thick that is because I can't totally tell.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm done with this. Thank you for doing the show
What's the
today.
chat say? Is this a shirt?
I'll let you know the poll results later. We got to keep going.
Okay.
Okay. See you in an hour when we record real life. Star Mechanical guest line. You know him, you love him. Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. And we're double dipping on the Star Mechanical guest line today and welcoming in someone who
That's
a-
tough. It's thicker than I thought it was
it's a
going to be.
fucking jacket. That's why.
That
It's a
might be in
jacket,
jacket
damn it.
territory, but like thinner. Sorry, back to Steve Peters.
Back to Steve Peters, who works for ESPN, was with the Arizona Coyotes for a number of years. Petey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm not wearing shirt/jacket in 90-degree Arizona weather. By the way, that would be a heavy winter jacket here in Arizona in case we're keeping score.
I remember when we went down for a nation vacation however many years ago, and like we were all in shorts and t-shirts, and there were people walking around in like sweaters. I saw someone wearing Uggs. I was like, what is going on down here?
Psycho.
Yeah, it's a different life down here. Yeah, you could see the winter jackets rolling out here at about 65 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Speaking of cold, the Edmonton Oilers at 5-on-5 this year have been exactly that. Petey, it is pretty, and we'll get into the film in a little bit and all of that, but just on the surface level, it is pretty jarring. I go to Natural Stat Trick, I sort by 5-on-5 goals for percentage, and the Edmonton Oilers are 31st in the NHL. What the hell?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's one. It's not to be concerned, and I know with all the Oilers fans, buddy, this is where they were last year, right? Like, so don't worry. But there are some concerns, and it is both sides of the puck. Their inability to score 5-on-5 and their inability to defend 5-on-5. You mix those together, it's not a great recipe right now for the Oil. The good news is they've played like this before, and part of it could be the hangover. Absolutely. You played more hockey than any other team in the Western Conference over the last 2 seasons. It takes a toll on you. Plus these games right now, again, we talked about it yesterday, games 5, 6, 7. Man, it's hard to get up for those when you've played in games 5, 6, 7 of a Stanley Cup final. So I do think that they're going to start getting better. I do think you look at statistics like shooting percentage where they are near the bottom 5-on-5. They're 28th right now. Those stats are going to get better. They're not going to continue to shoot like that. And the team to look at is the New York Rangers, who was at the bottom of the 5-on-5 shooting percentage a week ago, and now they're putting up 5, 6, 8. So it's going to happen. This team, their shooting percentage is too low. They're going to start getting goals. The defending side, Like that's the one they got to put their boots and dig in a little bit, like they did last year in the Western Finals, where they were a really good defending team. It's got to get better. I don't think they're defending strong enough or playing with any urgency in the defensive zone.
So let's, AB, do we have the first run of clips here? Let's go through the first run of 5-on-5 clips we have and take us through a few things that you've noticed breaking down the film.
Yeah, it's some of the problems. And one of the things offensively is that's very active, but they're not active to the inside of the ice. And when you do that, you don't get those second chance and rebounds. So you're throwing shots to the point and trying to get shots, rebounds, traffic. There isn't any. And it's continual. It's not just once or twice. It's shots with nobody getting to the net. That's probably the biggest issue, because when they do get to the net, and they do get traffic in front of goaltenders, puck goes in. It's no secret. You get the puck to the net with traffic, and the puck goes into the ice. The other thing with this team is you look at, this is the Draisaitl one snuck in. We were going to do those later, but that's okay. This is Draisaitl. We'll mention him later in the next one, which is fine. This is Draisaitl again. We talked about him not taking shots that are available this season. He does it once, he does it twice. This is the guy that needs to shoot. I mean, his shooting percentage, I know, isn't where it should be, but got to shoot. And he's missing opportunities. But more importantly, he's drifting. He's drifting out of the way. We have a whole video on him drifting coming up next. Yeah. But this is what we talk about, risk reward, staying on the offensive side of the puck. Their D pinches with traffic coming at them. When it's successful, the puck goes in. And when it's not, and they pinch when they shouldn't, the puck goes back the other way. But this is the way the Edmonton Oilers play. It's a risk-reward team. They're looking for offense. You're going to see it again where they're looking for offense. Bouchard's trying to make a play, and your best players are turning the puck over way too often. But you expect that from Bouchard. And what does Bouchard do? Well, he does stuff like this. This is last night. So, yes, he turns the puck over. Yes, he struggles to defend. But he makes a great stretch play, but he doesn't leave it at the stretch play. He gets up into the play. And he scores one of those rare 5-on-5 goals again with traffic at the net. But that's what you need from a player like him. And that's one of the issues. And the biggest issue defensively is this. They're low forward and their defenders duplicate too much. And the net front coverage is poor for this Edmonton Oilers team. They're giving too many opportunities in front. But I put this in just to say, don't worry. You have Connor McDavid. And that's the one factor that no other team in the National Hockey League has 5-on-5 is Connor McDavid. He is the great equalizer. But as you can see, the risk reward off those pinching blue lines, that's what you want as an Oilers fan. They've got to take those risks because this is a team that is going to try to outscore you. They're going to take chances through the neutral zone. They're going to get chances in the offensive zone. And sometimes you're going to get scored on. And unfortunately, that's part of the way this Oilers team plays, where they play offense heavy. And so those goals, unfortunately, you're going to have to live with. It's the goals in the defensive zone when you have defensive zone structure where you're duplicating and missing coverage and leaving open areas in front of the net. Those are the things you can't have as an Oilers fan. Those are the things that I have to clean up as the season progresses.
So I like that you highlight a few things that have kind of pissed me off this year, and not going to the net and then being a little bit soft in front of your own net. You played that Montreal goal where a guy was just basically allowed to stand there. We see a lot of people, and maybe this is actually more of like a question about the ozone stuff, but a lot of people online tend to go, look what Chris Knobloch's done to this team. They used to be fun and they used to generate offense, and now they just don't do it. They stay on the perimeter. Is this a coaching thing, or is this a not executing thing from the players?
I think it's a little bit of both. I do think one of the things you get with this active ozone, and by active, it means the defensemen are coming in off the blue line. You're seeing the forwards carry the puck up high and all this movement. I think that is part of the Edmonton Oilers structure. I do think he's given them a green light, and he wants people moving because that active play and that movement creates breakdowns in man-on-man defensive zone coverage. So ultimately, what it's supposed to create is great opportunities at the net. Unfortunately for Edmonton right now, nobody wants to be the guy going to the net. They all want to be the guy being loopy-doo out at the blue line. So it's going to have to be someone on that line, someone that's got to get the mentality of they've got to get to the blue paint, because absolutely this is the biggest issue offensively, is their inability to get rebound shots or 26th and 5-on-5 rebound shots. That's not good enough, because that's how goals are scored in the NHL. Goalies are too good to get a wrist shot from the top of the circle on most occasions and let that in. It's going to be the off the shin pads. The playoffs last year, how many goals went off skates and shin pads and knees and backs? Edmonton's got to get to the net. So I don't blame Knobloch totally. However, that freedom to play like that in the offensive zone clearly is some on his shoulders.
Yeah, and one guy who, again, I think is a part of this slump here for the Oilers at 5-on-5, like, you look to the big guns, and Chris Knobloch even said the other day, this team's identity starts with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and then after that, he listed a few other things. But I just look at the numbers here for Draisaitl, and at 5-on-5, his on-ice stats. So this isn't even putting it all on him. This is who he's on the ice with, but he's expected to be a driver. He has a drop in shot attempts per 60, shots per 60, his goals per 60, expected goals, which again shows you not getting shots in dangerous areas here. Like, we'll go through the film with Leon Draisaitl, but like, he has 9 goals, I think, this season. Only three of them though were at 5-on-5. It's tough to call it a slump when he still has 9 goals, but this feels like a slump for Leon.
Here's the problem. When you put up the numbers that he has put up over the years, and when the bar is set that high in the offensive zone, little things disappoint you. And I think that's fair. I think you want your top players being top players, and sometimes top players don't score. McDavid can get on a break when he might not score. But I tell you what McDavid's going to do. He's going to give you a premier effort every time he jumps over the boards. Now, he might make mistakes. He follows the puck in the defensive zone at times too, but it's not because he's being lazy or out of position. It's because he's working too hard. So those mistakes you can live with. The mistakes on good players when they're not doing things they should be doing or doing things the right way, that's where you get frustrated from the coaching perspective. And unfortunately for Leon, it's some of those things, not just that, but you talk about statistically, he's missed the shot. His shots have missed the nest more 5-on-5 than any other player on the Oilers. Wow. Like, that's not good enough. You've got to hit the net 5-on-5. And last year, he was first in 5-on-5 shots on goal for this Edmonton Oilers team. Now he's not. And here's what it is. Here's last year. This is how he played in the first 10 games. He led the team in 5-on-5 goals. He had 10 of them. Why? Because he got to the net. And now we talked about this, him not shooting. Shoot the puck. Like, that's a prime shooting spot that he takes the puck out of and puts it in someone's hands that's in a worse position. He does it again. Like, those are opportunities where he has to shoot, and then he curls away. This is the biggest problem. This is where I get frustrated with Leon Draisaitl. We talked about getting to the net. There is so often when you can't see him on the screen. A power play, great. You're going to get the 1T from there. You're going to put it in. 5-on-5, he needs to be in front of the net for rebounds, tips, screens, second opportunities. You could see this against the Dallas Stars. Driving the net? Where are you going? He sees the guy winding up. He sees your defenseman winding up. You got to go to the net. But he drifts to the corner again. There's no one to defend because the puck doesn't get to him. And this one's really frustrating because he drifts farther and farther and farther away. Look where the rebound was. It's right where he would have been if he would have been going to the net and possibly getting a scoring chance. It is really frustrating. And I know I single players out like this, and I say the same thing about Erik Karlsson because you want him to be so good, and then defensively he gives up a bad play. Evan Bouchard turns the puck over, but then he scores a big goal in overtime. Like, that's part of the give and take, but you want your good players to be your best players. And Draisaitl has it in him. We've seen it. We've seen him drive guys wide. We've seen him get to the net. We've seen that's where he scored from. We want that Leon Draisaitl, and he'll come. And I'm not saying, I don't know if inside the room, if he's got any injuries that he's dealing with or if there's any problems, or this is just who he is. But right now, this is the film I would show him this morning and say, hey, Leon, we just need you to be a little better. We need you to get to the blue paint. That's all. And it's a quick adjustment. And then you remind him again tomorrow. And then you remind him the next day. And that's what the purpose of the video coach is. And that's why Knobloch and his staff need to continue to push these small details into their team so that they're ready once the 1st of January comes around.
Yeah, and again, like Leon even said earlier in the year, and you can take this quote in a couple of different ways, but he said something along the lines of, yeah, we know when we need to be playing our best hockey. And like, I get it, and I would bet when the time comes, we get a way more engaged Leon Draisaitl who's doing all those little things that make him a top 5, top 3, top whatever player in the NHL. But it is a little bit frustrating to hear him say that right now and be like, oh, so you know what you're doing is bad. You're just kind of shrugging and going, it's November. Like, that's frustrating to me.
Yeah. I can take you back to the locker room in the Arizona Coyotes, and we had Shane Doan there for many, many years, one of the best players ever play that franchise. And he had that attitude in training camp. Game 1, 2, 3 of training camp, it's game 1, 2, 3. By the end of training camp, he's ramped up. So game 1, he's playing hard. That is something you don't want to hear from your premier players. And I'll give you this example. The Florida Panthers right now are not playing well. They are struggling 5-on-5. They're not winning on the score sheet, and they're struggling in the standings. However, it's not for lack of effort. And it's not from their best players not performing at their best. They're just decimated through injuries, and it's really hurt this team and their ability to perform. Your top players, all you want from the management, coaches, and fan base, you want your players to work hard. That's all. That's all you want. Just jump over the boards and work hard. If you're not, and you're intentionally not, and you know that you're not, It's a concern. The hard part is when this team is ready to be preparing for the playoffs, they're going to need them. And those things are habitual. There's something you do every day, and what you do today prepares you for tomorrow. And so that's where it's not a light switch. It's not just, hey, okay, today this game matters, I'm going to try hard today. I don't think it works like that. I'd like to see him again. Last year, he had 10 even strength goals through 17 games. 10. Well, he was getting to the net last year. It mattered last year. I think it is important that this team does well now, and I do think so because of playoff standings. And does home ice matter? Well, I think it does, especially when this team's 5-1 at home. You want to get that home ice. So games now in November are very important.
Yeah, let's go just one more for you, and we'll go maybe away from Edmonton here because obviously you do a lot of work. Your YouTube Inside the Coaches Room, people should absolutely check out if you're enjoying the breakdown PD's giving right now. Is there a team, and it's weird because the league is so mushy. We had Merrick on earlier, and he was talking about this. 5 of the 32 teams in the NHL are below 500 in terms of points percentage. Everyone else is 500 or better. So it's tough to identify like who should be worried about their first month and who shouldn't. But is there anyone out there, and like we're excluding the Nashvilles and the Calgarys and of that world, but is there anyone out there who's in the mush who you go, ooh, it's not good that you're in the mush?
Yeah, and one of them, surprisingly or not surprisingly, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because a lot of the issues we've talked about with the Edmonton Oilers, well, those are the same issues that the Toronto Maple Leafs are having. I know Woll getting back might help them in the goaltending area, but this is a team that can't defend, and I do think it's structural there. I do think they're having a very hard time keeping the puck out of their net. And you also talk about a team that needs to get goals. Like, this team has to outscore their opponent. That's not sustainable over time. We've seen that in the playoffs. So I am concerned for the start of a Toronto Maple Leaf team because everybody on the media goes, hey, you don't have Mitch Marner, but inside the room they're going, hey, we can win without Mitch Marner. And that room is fragile because they've tried to replace Marner with several different players, and it's affected most on the power play. Like, the power play is absolutely dismantled without Marner on the top. So I see a big concern there. But there are other teams. They look at the Vegas Golden Knights out of the playoffs. I'm not worried about the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to be fine. The Rangers stumbled. They're playing better than expected. The Capitals, I think the Capitals are who they are, and I think they'll be fighting for a playoff spot too. They're out of the playoffs. Florida, I still think is going to find a way to get in. But to me, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs that are the ones I'm like, they better find a way in a hurry.
You wonder, too, like, again, 500 so far through 17 games. If you want to point to a learning curve, but then you just look at the goaltending, Stolarz is hurt. Now Matthews is hurt. And it's like, okay, it doesn't look like Edmonton, you could chart a path right now to the Oilers winning 5 of their next 7 and being like, all right, super duper, we're back. With the injuries, It's hard to think that right now it's going to get better for Toronto. Like, it might get worse, which is like, ooh, that would make me nervous if I'm Craig Berube.
Yeah, because what happens in Toronto, unlike playing in so many other hockey markets, is, it's okay, we can fly under the radar. You're not flying under the radar in Toronto. If you don't get this thing turned around in the next 2 weeks, the pressure is even going to be increased even more. Like, that's the bigger issue. You feel you're going to come out of it, but the pressure inside the room, because of all of the external factors, makes a difference. They're not just going in and playing hockey in Toronto. It's never easy in Toronto. And so I think with the futility they've had to start the season is really going to hurt them. But Edmonton, I mentioned they're 5-1 at home. Like, this stretch of this road games, they've got one knocked out now with 2 points. This is a really important stretch of road games. But for the rest of the league, look out, because guess who has some of the fewest games on the road the second half of the season? Well, it's the Oilers. They have 17 road games after the 1st of January. Well, look out, because this team plays incredibly well at home, and you can look to those things and go, okay, we're going to pick up points then. Let's keep slugging. We're going to get better, but that's our future. And then we're going to start pulling away. So I do think the grass is much greener in Edmonton than it is in Toronto right now.
From January 1st on, I'm just double checking this.
Is it 17? Might be January 3rd.
No. From January 1 on, they do not play a single game in the Eastern time zone. That's crazy.
That's insane. And and people that travel for their work understand you wake up in a new city and you get tired. They're on a trip right now that is horrific. It's really hard with all these back-to-backs, 7 games in 11 days. This is hard. This is a tough game tonight. I was listening to the segment before, and there's a lot of positivity about tonight. This is a tough one. This one is going to be tough, I think, in Columbus. Columbus is playing a little bit better hockey than I think people give them credit for. I think this is going to be a battle. But if you can come out of there with points, and start racking up these points, man, not having to travel like that the second half when other teams are and they're getting tired and they're playing in different time zones and they're wearing down and they're getting hurt, and Edmonton's sitting at home. So, yeah, I do think this second half, Edmonton's got to stay around it between now and January 1st. And by stay around it, they got to be in the playoffs. I don't think there's a team that can pull the St. Louis Blues rabbit from the hat at 32nd. I don't think that can happen. I think this team needs to be in the playoffs and then just go, oh my gosh, they're starting to pull away. They're pulling away. And then they can find some breathing room in the Pacific. So they do get that home ice all the way through the playoffs, which I think is going to be very important. And it's showing on how many teams are doing so well at home. Well, except for the Rangers.
Yeah. It's again, I know like Jay is the eternal optimist and they should win every game 9-2.
Yeah.
And I love that about him. But like you look at this road trip and we were talking about what's a good record on a 7-game road trip like this. 3-3-1 is actually probably something to be applauded.
Yeah, for sure, and especially with some of the teams you're playing. And I think surprisingly, last night was one of the more difficult teams. This Flyer team isn't what the Flyers are known for the last few years, so they're playing better, and it was a really good hockey game. Yes, they deserved to win that one. They got the 2 points. Another shout-out to Noah Siegel, the video coach, for a huge offside call at the end of that one. But you got Carolina in Carolina, Washington in Washington, Tampa in Tampa, and Florida in Florida. That's a tough stretch. And you got Tampa on a back-to-back. I know Tampa's struggling, but they're still Tampa. They can put up numbers when they're playing. I think they play to their opponent, and I do think their game against Edmonton, you're going to see better Tampa Bay Lightning play than you've seen over the last few weeks. This is tough. Those are 3 games that I think you look at the schedule coming up and go, oh, these could be tough. 4 of the next 6 are really good teams. So to your point, yeah, just get home 3-3-1. Yeah, I think 500 on this trip is a win. I really, really do. And I know everybody wants to win every game. I think you can come out of a trip like this because of the back-to-backs, because of the time of year and how you're playing 5-on-5. I think coming out of this 3-3-1 or better is a really good road trip.
Petey, you're the man. Appreciate your insight. Appreciate the work digging up the clips as well. And I'll chat with you next week on Daily Faceoff Live.
Thanks. We'll see you. Thanks, Tyler.
There you go, Steve Peters. If you want to find more of his work inside the coach's room on YouTube, go subscribe. He does a ton of really long video breakdowns. It's great stuff. Really is one of a kind in the hockey media space. So appreciate Petey giving us some time today. And yeah, he joins me every Wednesday on DFO Live. We pick a different team, run through it. So it's a great way to kind of learn how some other teams around the NHL operate as well. All right, couple things I want to tell everyone before we wrap up the show. First off, Aaron's got pre and post game today at 4:30 right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. So who do you got on with for pre and post today?
Me and one Sean Pang and Eben. We'll be down at Dog Patch this evening. Nice. So if any folks, hey, it's an early oil game, you don't want to cook, come on down to Dog Patch, eat some great food, hang out with me, Pangs and Brett, a couple brewskis, little Drake May action as well. It's going to be an awesome Thursday.
Speaking of Dog Patch, our Nation Night Out is coming up in under 10 days at Dog Patch. We are doing it in support of Edmonton's food bank. Tickets are just $10. It's a donation to the food bank, and then it'll get you in for a swag bag. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn or ruining anything. Part of the swag bag is the Hope Will Never Die coffee mug. They might be one of the coolest things we've ever put together.
I just saw them today.
They
sick. Are absolutely insane. I walked in the front door and turned to Walls and went, what the hell are these? Can I have one? I was told no, because they're for you. They're for you.
Yes. NationGear.ca next Saturday. Puck drops at 5 p.m. The live show starts at 4, doors at 3:30. We are going to have a great night at Dog Patch with a bunch of giveaways and, again, the mugs.
We're going out after, right?
Yeah, we probably will.
We're going
There's
out
no
after.
way we aren't.
Maybe a little Greta Barry egg.
Yeah, there we go. Double dip. That'd be a night. That'd be a good night. Anyways, you won't want to miss it. Join us. Get your tickets now because they will sell out. They sold out last year. They sold out quick last year too. So I don't even know how much more time you really got.
They're going right now. People on pre and post last night were buying them during the show.
It already says low stock. So that means there's under 10 left. Okay. That is Lance dropped in a super chat that I wanted to read. Yeah. Honestly, Lance, I read it before. I really don't want to read it, but it's fine. I appreciate your donation. Can we talk about Chris Pronger wearing an Oilers jersey again and calling himself an Oilers alumni for the Shoresy game at Rogers Place? We're just going to let that seem normal. You can talk to Wanya about it. I really don't care about Chris Pronger wearing or being an Oiler. He gave us a good run. He gave us the 06 Cup run. Did he leave? Yes. Lots of guys leave. Did it suck? Yes. Does he probably wish it would have played out differently? Also, yes. So, again,
all roads lead to Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
I'm done holding grudges. I'm done holding grudges.
Exactly.
I did, believe me, but I'm done with that. It's not going to help you anything.
Lance says, can I go out after 2? Sure. Why not?
Oh, Lance, you're coming.
Yeah,
We're going.
We'll have a good night. Okay, I think that's a wrap on today's edition of the
Jasper.
show.
Mention Jasper.
Oh, yes, Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, nationgear.ca. Take a look. It is an unbelievable weekend in the Rockies. We play hockey on the beautiful Lake Mildred at the Fairmont JPL. So much fun. Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, nationgear.ca. I think that is everything I had to promote. Good stuff, everybody. Good stuff, boys. Liam will be back on Monday. So tomorrow, who will I have on the show? Great question. I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out for you. That is a wrap on today's edition of the program. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll see you back here at Noon Mountain. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.